a special guest. So, anyways, let's jump right into it. So we had the Fiend take on Seth Rollins in the main event tonight, and what we went over last night was two things: either one, the Fiend had to win this world championship, or two, that the Fiend is going to do something so drastic to Seth Rollins that they are going to eventually stop the match. And we basically kind of saw that, but the other way around, where Seth Rollins went absolutely apeshit and to the point to where the referee stopped the match. And the match was going fine. You know, we had a pretty good match at first. You know, you had, for some odd reason, WWE kept the damn red light on for whatever reason. I guess to try to portray this more of an evil side, dark look for the Fiend. It was kind of a little bit hard to adjust on my end, but I don't know how everybody else felt with the red light being on. Some people kind of digged it. But yeah, it seemed like it was going to be a decent match. You had Bray Wyatt take him outside, hit him over the head a couple of times with steps. Seth Rollins did the same. We even saw a chair shot to the head by Seth. It wasn't anything crazy. It probably hit more of the ring than the head.
Yeah, it
But
did.
we did see a chair shot to the head. Nothing too crazy. And then we had him just kind of lose it. He did like about, I think, at least 20 curb stomps on the Fiend. Had to have. Maybe that's being a little
Beyond
bit
way
over
too long.
dramatic, but he did at least 10 or so curb stomps on the Fiend, which he kicked out of every one of them. Then to the point to where he lost it. He grabbed the ladder. He grabbed more chairs. He grabbed some type of toolbox that was underneath the ring and just started swinging on the Fiend's head. And finally, we get him going underneath the ring and grabbing a sledgehammer. He grabs the sledgehammer. You see the referee kind of say, hey, what are you doing? Don't do this. You know, think about what you're doing, type of thing, trying to get Seth Rollins to not hit him over the head with the sledgehammer. And by golly, what does Seth Rollins do? He hits him over the head. Well, hits him with the ladder and the toolbox and the chairs that were all on top of Bray Wyatt's head and knocks him over the head with it, and the ref stops the match. And you would have thought the crowd had something wrong. This had something obviously wrong with the match, right, Dave? You had refund chants that obviously happened off air. I saw on Twitter. We had restart the match chants. We had AEW chants. We had bullshit chants as well. Because what happened afterwards was the refs all, calling out for help. Referees comes down. We have medical come down with the stretcher, and they're trying to stretcher the Fiend out of the ring. And for some odd reason, Bray Wyatt gets up in the Fiend's face. He puts the mandible claw on him. He takes him outside the ring, and you see him putting the mandible claw on Rollins again, and he ends up coughing up blood, and we end the show pretty much like that. Enough, Red Sox fan. I get the goddamn shit, man. You're getting on my nerves with your trolling tonight. It's not necessary. What did you think of the match? Did you have any problems with it? Obviously, I'm sure you did. And do you think that they killed this Fiend character at all? Did they still do a good job making him look strong tonight?
Oh, let me rewind before I get into that. Okay, the red lighting, it was unique. I'm like, okay, the cage and all that, they coming out, the cool entrance, which I loved it. And then they stayed on the light, and I'm like, are they seriously just gonna? Is this like whatever year that was that Kane came in when he was first wrestling? Remember that
Right, right.
when Kane would only wrestle in red lighting, and that was it, and that would make his matches look, I guess, different. And maybe that's what they're trying to make Bray stand out with it. They didn't do it with Balor, so that's what kind of threw you too. When he faced Balor, they didn't do red lighting; they just had regular lighting, which for a live crowd that must suck because you can't really see
Yeah,
anything being that dark.
I wonder how the live crowd dealt with that, because for
I mean,
me,
I've been pissed.
when I was there last year, I don't know how if the red cell bothers anybody in watching it on TV, but it does bother me a little bit. I don't mind it, to the point where I'm hating the match because of the damn red cell. But when I was there live, it's really something that you have to really adjust your eyes to, I wonder how it felt being there live with the red cell plus the red lighting on top of that.
Yeah.
Did you have issues with the red lighting? Did you mind it or did it
I mean,
bother you?
I was thinking, okay, maybe they're doing this to set something up because I did not think at all. We talked about this last night too, about how I was worried that when they put in the poll, is it going to end by pin, submission, or disqualification? Technically, they didn't say disqualification, but basically seemed like a disqualification.
Right.
And I was like, okay, there's no way they're going to do that in Hell in a Cell because there's no disqualifications. You're using weapons and everything. It's all legal. And they did. I thought, okay, well, maybe Liv Morgan's going to come out. Well, maybe Seth's going to pull out someone out of the ring and they're going to grab something or whatever. Maybe Bo's going to come out as the friend, like you guys are saying. And then we get all this crazy stuff. I mean, the red light didn't bother me that much, but I was sitting here at home, so it sucks for anyone else. Which I get if people are used to the big, because it's WE. You're not. It's not like you're watching some poor produced indie show. No offense, indie people, but I'm just saying WE's been all this big production,
Right.
and you're used to like bright lights to watch your main events and throughout the whole show, and then you give us something. I guess that's what they're going for, something unique and different. Which I get it. But whatever. I don't have to like it, but I get it.
They just
And
handed more viewers. You're crazy. You're fucking
just
crazy, Red Sox fan. You're wild for that.
just you know, just the whole how they did it, I think it rubbed a lot. Obviously, a lot of people were pissed at the ending because you got a DQ, and then one thing that was drove me a little bit crazy too is like, okay, you have them go through all this stuff, and they're making him kick out of like, I swear there was like 50 curb stomps.
There was a
I'm
lot of
like,
them.
and even during this segue they're getting to it, the crowd was like booing the crap out of Seth Rollins because
Yes,
they
they were.
wanted the Fiend to win. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't want Rollins to win the title and keep it. And it's a bad situation when everyone is booing you. It reminds you of the Roman Reigns stuff where he's getting to that effect where people just want him to lose the title. And man, it's getting really bad. And I hated how they did it. And when they did all that stuff to Bray or the Fiend, and he's kicking out at one. He's getting like concertoed and hit with toolboxes and slide, and he's kicking out at one.
Yeah,
That's a little Hogan right there. I mean,
and
geez,
they
kicking out at
to me
one.
they killed a move for Bray. This head snap that Bray Wyatt does, and
That's a good one.
yeah, he just kind of it killed that move because it should have ended Seth Rollins in my opinion. And what to me, I just didn't. It didn't make sense at all when you have Bray Wyatt or the Fiend, I should say, attack Seth Rollins immediately after they just
Yeah.
kind of stopped the
Oh,
match. You know, it kind of
and
looked
they brought the
bad.
stretcher out, and then all of a sudden he gets his find
I
out.
would have rather them have it where they're coming out to get him out of the ring, and the lights go off, they turn back on, and he's gone. I'd rather have
Yeah.
done that than have them do what they did to end tonight because that's what made people more upset. Seeing Bray Wyatt just get up so quickly after them
They're like
stopping the
restart the
match,
match.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
that's what made the fans start, the restart the match stuff. I don't mind. You really got a different side of Seth where he kind of like he lost it tonight to where he went to his dark side where he's grabbing shit and hitting him over the head with it to try to defeat the Fiend, which obviously wasn't working. I just didn't care for how they did it after the match, where you had the Fiend attack him immediately, and that's what made the fans so upset because they felt like they should have restarted the match. And then you get the bullshit chants and the AEW chants and the refund chants that they were chanting tonight. I don't blame them for being upset. I really feel like WWE could have done it a different route. I think they should have did it the other way, where the Fiend gets the match called off, because he's doing something so crazy to Seth
Yeah.
Rollins.
Even like someone said something about X Pac. Even on the watch along, they're like, oh, when he put the claw on Seth, and he's like, oh, why don't they just count now? And because the match is over, everyone assumed the match, even on the watch along, people assumed the match was still happening, but it just stopped. And it's like, people were kind of confused, like, okay, it's a cell. Why would you have Why would you have a Hell in the Cell and then have a match end in disqualification?
It
If
just
you didn't
doesn't.
want this to happen, it makes no
It makes
sense.
no sense because that's never happened before. We've
Yeah.
never seen a Hell in a Cell match in a disqualification. And we've seen some fucked up shit in the Hell in a Cell matches, have we not? We've seen Mick
Yeah.
Foley go off a cage. We've seen him chokeslam through a cage. We've seen him. What else have we seen him? We've seen Shawn Michaels off a cage. We've seen Batista hit Triple H with a sledgehammer before in a Hell in a Cell. We've seen Rollins and John Moxley fall off a cage onto the table. It was just weird, like how they had it happen. I'd rather them stop the match than have him beat him. That's 100% for sure. But do you feel like this destroyed the Fiend character at all? Do you feel like they still have something with the Fiend? Do you feel like this feud is over? Because we do have the draft next Friday. What do you think is going on with this whole Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins before we move on to Sasha and Becky Lynch?
Man, it's just
I get to the chat.
I don't know if they destroyed. I don't know if they destroyed the Fiend, but they made him look too unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like it's like okay, he kicks out at one on all these moves. It's like what you're saying, you can't beat him, but so they had to stop it like that. Well, just don't do the match. And I like the fact that what they're almost trying to tell with a story with Seth. But that would be only if it would have been a disqualification match. A regular match, then fine. No one has a problem with this, maybe. But, man, this is just... I like him going to get the sledgehammer simply because it kind of... Which the commentators didn't mention at all, which they're new, so I get it. Which they should have mentioned, I think, Triple H. Like, oh, that's Triple H's patented sledgehammer type deal. He's doing that. He's even using the pedigree. And... I wish I would have mentioned that, but I like that they might be teasing him going to that dark place again, but I don't know. I mean, the Fiend's just all over the place. I mean, because they made him look too strong.
Okay.
I don't know if that's... And I don't like the fact that he's kicking out of one after getting hit with like a toolbox and a ladder and a chair on his head. He kicks out at one. And it's like, what? It's just too unbelievable.
This match also went 17 minutes and 30 seconds long. It was the second longest match on the card.
Oh, it came at the end when he's doing the mandible claw.
Yeah, the blood came out from his mouth. Yeah,
Meltzer's gonna love that tomorrow.
Meltzer's gonna have a field day with that. Blood and guts, everybody. One more thing before we move on, and we'll get to the chat room. Another year of calling Seth the Beast and Fiend Slayer. Oh no. What do you think happens tomorrow night on Raw? Do you feel like we'll get even Seth Rollins showing up, or do you feel like they're not going to... Do you think they move on from this feud, or do you think there's going to be a rematch?
You would almost think there would have to be after something like that. I mean, what do you do with a match like that? I mean, how does Seth win that? Or do they just say screw it and just have Bray move to SmackDown or something? I don't know. I mean, it's just... I don't know what you do.
By Vince McMahon logic, Batista should have been DQ'd when he used a sledgehammer against Triple H in their 2005 Hell in a Cell match. Yeah, exactly what I was mentioning earlier. It's funny, too, that Rollins DQs himself, yet still retains the belt. Hate when that happens in title matches. So the refs stopped the match for the sledgehammer, but not for when the Fiend broke Seth's neck. Yeah. I thought that made it more difficult to see, meaning the red lights. They just handed AEW more viewers, 2.5 million this.
Okay, we're gonna hold you to that. If they don't get it,
if they get 2.5 million viewers, Red Sox fan, I'll PayPal you $10. All right, how about that? Hell in a Cell sucked ass, says Zootek. So essentially, Bray is now above Brock, Goldberg, Warrior, Hogan, Taker, about 10 rungs in the hierarchy of overpowered. It should have been Seth tries a stomp, it gets nothing, and he gets submitted with the claw. 5 minutes tops, and they just couldn't help themselves.
You know what's funny about this though? If we go the other way, let's pretend that didn't happen. Let's pretend the Fiend won the match.
Tony?
You know what everyone be talking about right now? What a great pay-per-view Hell in a Cell was.
Yeah, I think
that's what everyone would be talking about right now.
I honestly agree with you on that. I 100% agree with you on that. Talk about killing his finisher, 10 stops and a pedigree, and kicks out at 1. Yeah, but you got to figure too, it's the Fiend, so...
Yeah, but it's 1 though. I mean, geez.
You got to put a little, I guess, a side eye to that one. Seriously, this show killed and already almost dead Seth, fucked up Bray, fucked Sasha, fucked Bailey. The object is to build stars, not kill them all in one day. AEW chants are just going to continue if this keeps up.
Shucky, ducky,
Yeah.
quack, quack.
Seth McMahon
Seth
Rollins.
McMahon Rollins. Yeah. It was the first match in the storyline. Let's see where it goes. I don't count dark matches or house shows. I agree with you there, Jeffrey Cross. I wonder, we'll see what they do. If they capitalize on a rematch or what. You would have to assume.
Well, I don't know. 'Cause the draft
But
coming,
the draft
I think.
makes things a little bit more difficult, you know?
Yeah.
It does. Random
I
side
think
note.
this was the end. Go
The
ahead.
commentators needed to shut the fuck up during the Fiend's entrance. Don't talk.
Yes.
Cracking a joke during it too, man. Just let the entrance be.
Yes, I hated when
I honestly
King
didn't
and
even
Thor
notice
talked.
that.
Well, yeah, I mean, he kept asking, "Hey King, you were a part of the Fiend. What do you think would happen if he became WWE champion or Universal champion?" And all this crap. But yeah, I was like, "Yeah, don't talk. I wish don't talk at all until he's done with his entrance." I agree with that.
Thank you for
I used to hate crap.
for the bits there, Lit Mantis, and for the bits there, Ganicus. Really do appreciate that.
Hell, back in the day, I remember I used to hate the commentators talking during entrances because I used to try to. This is old school. I used to try to record entrances off the TV so I could play them later.
The house should wear Seth curb stomp Bray 4 times. Just seems like practice for this match. Yeah, the house show that showed him doing those. Yeah. Why didn't Bray have Seth's head on the lantern? That would have been so much. That would have been so bad. I liked Alex's idea.
Balor.
Did you see Alex's tweet where he said he should have a Moxley head and have to play mind games with Rollins? That would have been perfect. How funny would that would have been funny? But I know that obviously wouldn't happen. But how funny would that would have been?
But really quick before we move on, the whole setup, that whole thing where he's just going corner to corner hitting these little curb stomps, it's like, okay, something's going to happen. They're just doing it and playing it up, and everyone keeps thinking he's going to get the big win after this. And that just went on for way too long.
I really want to know what they do next with the Fiend and Seth Rollins. And I agree with Bob Roode. I honestly don't feel like the Fiend needs this title. Like, I wish he would just kind of move away from this. Maybe they come back to it eventually later down the line. But I just don't feel like the Fiend needs a title. I just don't want them to overdo it with the Fiend and they know they have gold with him, and they're going to overdo it with him, obviously. We'll see what happens.
Were they trying to show that, okay, he's a main eventer, so we got to put him there with Seth, and then Seth couldn't beat him, so then we're going to move him to Raw and set up a possible big match with him and Brock, maybe? I mean, I don't know. But, man, that's just, I don't know. That was just a stupid way to end your show. Yeah, after you put on a pretty good show.
Yeah, it was actually surprisingly pretty good tonight.